All right, so looks like we're really diving deep into the world of Shih Tzus today.
Oh, yeah.
You know I love it when we get to talk about dogs.
Always a good time.
So you've been doing your research, huh? Got a whole stack of articles, notes, everything from their history to like how to actually care for that fur.
That luxurious, floofy fur.
So tell me, are you thinking about maybe getting one of these,
Little lion.
Yes, little lions into your family?
You know, what I always find fascinating is how much a breed's history can actually, tell us about the dogs we know and love today.
Oh, interesting.
And the Shih Tzu's story.
Okay.
It's a journey. It really is.
Okay.
We're talking over 1,000 years.
1,000 years. Wow.
Yeah.
That is even older than my grandma's fruitcake recipe. But seriously, that's super impressive. So where does this epic tale begin? I'm seeing a lot about Tibet in these sources, which, kind of throws a wrench in that whole Shih Tzu means lion dog and Chinese thing.
Right. And you're right to pick up on that. While they're often associated with China, the Shih Tzu story, it really does begin in Tibet, where they were these incredibly prized companions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So not actually from China.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I am seeing some connections to, like, Tibetan Buddhism in here.
Okay.
Something about a lion dog and a deity.
Yeah. So Tibetan Buddhism, they have this really fascinating deity called the God of Learning.
Okay.
And he supposedly traveled with a small lion dog.
Wow.
And legend has it that this dog could even transform into a full-size lion, like to carry him long distances.
Whoa, what?
And if you think about it, I mean, that imagery, it seems like it really might have influenced how we actually see the breed today.
Right.
Especially with those guardian lion statues that you see like everywhere.
Oh, those statues. Yes. Okay, they're always outside of temples and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. They're called fu dogs. They're symbols of protection, good luck, and the resemblance to the Shih Tzu. It's actually pretty striking. They're believed to ward off bad energy and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Interesting.
And you see both, male and female dogs represented, and each one has specific symbolism.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so the male, he usually has a ball, and that represents wisdom, whereas the female will often have a puppy, which symbolizes protection.
Wow, I never knew that.
It's really cool.
So we're seeing these themes of protection and then also playfulness reflected even today in the Shih Tzu's personality.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it makes you wonder how much of their history might have shaped those traits that we see. But before we actually get into their temperament, their story takes a little bit more of a kind of dramatic turn.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we're following them from the lap of luxury to the brink of extinction.
Wait, hold on. Extinction.
I know, right?
How does a dog that's literally bred for royalty almost completely disappear?
Well, it's a story of resilience for sure, but to understand how close they came to actually vanishing, we have to first look at their rise to royal status. So during the Ming Dynasty, these dogs, they were the ultimate status symbol.
Fancy.
Owning one was just a sign of incredible wealth, prestige. In fact, commoners caught with a Shih Tzu would face death.
Whoa, talk about high stakes.
Very high stakes.
No wonder they were nicknamed chrysanthemum-faced dogs.
I love that.
With that luxurious coat.
Yeah.
They totally have that regal air.
Yeah.
They scream royalty.
And that's exactly what nearly led to their downfall.
Oh, no.
So when the Communist Revolution came and just swept through China, anything that was associated with the old regime, with wealth and privilege,
it was out.
they have the target. Yeah.
So these pampered palace pets went from prized possessions to public enemy number one.
Essentially, yeah.
Wow.
The Shih Tzu population was decimated during that time.
Oh, no.
Many were killed just for their association with the old ways.
That's heartbreaking.
It is sad.
But I have a feeling you're about to tell me that there's hope for our furry friends, right?
Oh, there is hope. Thankfully, a few Shih Tzus, they'd been gifted to people outside of China.
Okay.
And these dogs became the foundation for the breed's remarkable comeback.
Oh, wow.
In fact, every Shih Tzu alive today can trace its lineage back to just 14 dogs.
14 dogs.
I know.
Seriously.
It's crazy.
That's incredible. So how did they go from this tiny handful of survivors to the stars that we know and love today?
Right.
Did they have a little help from some famous friends?
You know it. We're talking big names here.
Yeah.
From music icons to royalty.
Okay, this is where things get interesting.
Yes.
Spill the tea.
Okay.
Who are these Shih Tzu loving celebrities?
Well, we've got everyone from Mariah Carey to Queen Elizabeth II.
Wow, get out.
Even Bill Gates is a fan.
Shut up.
I know, right? but their popularity wasn't just about their glamorous looks.
Right, because there's got to be more to them than just a pretty face.
For sure.
Although that coat is pretty spectacular.
It is.
But I am seeing a lot about their athleticism in these articles. Okay.
Are we talking about the same dog here? The one that was bred to be like a lap warmer for emperors?
Right. Don't let that luxurious fur fool you. Underneath all that fluff is a surprisingly, agile and energetic dog.
Wait. Yeah.
And you might even be surprised to learn that a Shih Tzu even won both champion and agility titles back in 2014.
Agility champs.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay, I clearly underestimated them.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about their history, their brush with extinction,
Yeah.
their unexpected athleticism.
Right.
What about their personality? How did all of those things, especially like the Tibetan Buddhist roots and their history with Chinese royalty, how did that influence the Shih Tzu temperament we know today?
That's a great question. And, it's something I think about a lot.
Yeah.
They're famous for, their intelligence, their playful energy, and they're incredibly devoted to their humans. But, like you alluded to, that royal lineage might also be responsible for a little bit of a stubborn streak. Okay, so let's unpack this a little. Are we talking training challenges, housebreaking disasters? Are they actually, difficult dogs to live with?
I wouldn't say difficult, but they definitely require a patient owner.
Okay.
They're incredibly loving, eager to please, but that independent streak we talked about can make training a little more interesting, we'll say.
Interesting. How so? I'm getting a little bit of a mischievous vibe from these pups.
A little bit, yeah.
So what's the secret to success with a Shih Tzu? Lots of treats, extra belly rubs.
A little bit both. Positive reinforcement is definitely the way to go with this breed. They respond best to praise, rewards, and a gentle but consistent approach.
Gotcha.
Yeah, think of it more as like a partnership and not a dictatorship.
Okay, got it. No drill sergeant tactics allowed.
Exactly.
Now I have to ask about that iconic coat.
Yeah.
Because it's gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
But I'm also picturing some serious matting situations happening.
Oh, yeah.
How much care are we talking here?
You're not wrong. That coat requires some serious TLC. We're talking daily brushing, regular professional grooming.
Wow.
Especially keeping the fur on the longer side. A lot of owners just go with a puppy cut or a lion cut to make things way more manageable.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's dive into some of the nitty-gritty details of Shih Tzu care.
Okay.
Because I do see some potential health concerns in these.
Yeah, and you're right. It's definitely important to be aware of these things. So those adorable smushed faces.
So cute.
The cutest. But they can lead to breathing problems, especially in hot weather.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's a condition called brachycephalic syndrome, and it's definitely something to talk to your vet about.
And what about their ears? They're super floppy, which is adorable.
Adorable.
But I've heard that can make them prone to, ear infections and stuff.
You're absolutely right. Those floppy ears, they need regular cleaning, just to prevent moisture from building up, which can lead to those infections.
So good ventilation, regular ear checks are key.
Yes.
Now, swinging back to their personality, I am seeing some mentions of separation anxiety.
Okay.
Are Shih Tzus really that attached to their humans?
It's a bit of a double-edged sword. Their love for their humans is definitely one of their most endearing qualities.
Right.
But it can manifest as separation anxiety when they're left alone for long periods.
So heartwarming, but potentially problematic for the wrong owner.
Right.
Would you say Shih Tzus are kind of a bad choice for people who, work long hours?
I wouldn't go that far because with proper training and gradual acclimation, they can learn to handle being alone.
Oh, right.
But it's just really important to be realistic about their needs.
Yeah.
Shih Tzu, they thrive on companionship. They don't do well in isolation.
Right. They need their people.
Yes, exactly.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've talked history, temperament, care.
Mm-hmm.
What about the deeper aspects of their personality?
Okay.
What makes a Shih Tzu tick?
Oh, get ready for some heartwarming stories.
Yeah.
Because their capacity for love and loyalty, it's truly remarkable.
I believe it.
Yeah, there are countless stories about their unwavering devotion to their humans.
Oh.
Even in the face of adversity.
I can already picture this tiny fluffy shadow.
Yes.
Trotting after their human everywhere.
You're not far off.
Yeah.
They definitely crave closeness and connection.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that every dog is an individual.
Right.
generalizations are helpful, but there's no substitute for getting to know a specific dog.
Totally.
And understanding their, unique quirks.
That's so true. Speaking of quirks, I do want to address something a little controversial.
Okay.
Because some of these sources actually claim that Shih Tzu are the quote-unquote worst dogs for some people.
Interesting.
Are we ending this deep dive on a negative note?
Not at all.
Okay.
Let's dig into those claims a bit.
Okay.
Even the most beloved dog breeds, they have their, pros and cons.
That's a really good point.
Right.
So let's decode the Shih Tzu soul, shall we? Are they angels in fur coats? Or are these worst dog claims something that, potential owners really need to consider?
Well, like most things, it's all about perspective.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, so those worst dog claims, they usually come down to those same traits we've been discussing.
Right.
That stubborn streak, the potential for, separation anxiety if you don't ease them into it. And, let's just say they aren't afraid to use their bark.
Right. They've got a lot to say.
They do.
So it's the things that make them unique, can also be challenging for certain lifestyles, right? It's not that they're inherently bad dogs. It's just about, finding the right fit.
100%. For someone who's looking for, a low-maintenance dog who's happy being home alone for hours on end,
Yeah.
a Shih Tzu, probably not the best match.
Right. They need their people.
They do.
They're like professional cuddlers who thrive on attention.
Exactly. They are happiest when they're snuggled up with their family, going on adventures, getting lots of love and attention.
Oh.
And, on the topic of those, worst dog claims,
Yeah.
we also have to remember that, training plays a huge role.
Oh, for sure.
Like we talked about earlier, consistency and positive reinforcement, super key with this breed.
Makes sense. A little patience goes a long way.
Yes.
So thinking about someone who, might be considering getting a Shih Tzu, what would you say are the absolute must-haves?
Well, for starters, they really do thrive in homes where someone is around more often than not.
Okay.
They crave that companionship.
Yeah.
And, as we've discussed, being alone for those long stretches, it can be tough on them.
So working from home, retirees, families, someone always around, that kind of thing?
Exactly. And it's not even just about, the physical presence.
Okay.
But about, active engagement.
Right.
These dogs, they love to be involved in whatever their humans are doing.
Aw.
They're playful, they're curious, always up for an adventure, whether it's, a walk in the park or just following you around the house.
So they're down for whatever, as long as they're included. I can get behind that.
Totally.
What about their grooming needs? Because that luxurious coat has got to require some serious upkeep.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
That beautiful coat, it does not stay perfect on its own.
No.
Daily brushing, that's non-negotiable. You got to prevent those mats. You got to prevent those tangles.
Yeah.
And even if you are diligent with, the at-home care, those regular trips to a professional groomer,
Right.
essential.
Yeah.
And it's not just about aesthetics either.
Right.
Regular grooming, it helps prevent skin issues.
Yeah.
Keeps their coat healthy and comfortable.
Right. So it's about their well-being as much as it is about keeping them looking fabulous.
Exactly.
And speaking of well-being, we did touch on some potential health concerns earlier.
We did.
Anything else potential Shih Tzu owners should be aware of?
Well, we talked about brachycephalic syndrome,
Yeah.
which affects those short-nosed breeds.
Right. So cute.
Adorable.
Yeah.
But basically, it means they can have trouble breathing,
Right.
especially in hot or humid weather.
That makes sense.
So really crucial to keep them cool, hydrated, and to be mindful of, their limits during exercise.
Right. No marathon training sessions in the middle of summer.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, those floppy ears.
So cute, but...
Adorable.
Yeah.
But because they trap moisture so easily, ear infections, they can be pretty common
Yeah.
with Shih Tzus.
Mm-hmm.
So regular cleaning with a vet-approved solution.
Okay.
And just, keeping an eye out for any signs of, irritation or infection, crucial.
Okay. So good ventilation is key.
Yes.
It's amazing how much care goes into these little guys.
It is.
But it's
Worth it.
it's got to be worth it.
Oh, yeah. Trust me. The love and joy they bring.
Yeah.
Totally worth it.
And speaking of love and joy,
Yes.
we can't wrap up this deep dive without talking about the incredible bond
Yes.
that Shih Tzus form with their humans,
It's true.
right? Their capacity for love and loyalty is something that we've touched on,
Mhm.
but I'd love to hear more about what makes that Shih Tzu human bond
Yeah.
so special.
Well, they were literally bred to be companions.
Right. Yeah.
And that's reflected in, Their every interaction with their humans. They thrive on affection. They're always eager to please.
Yeah.
And they are masters of those like soulful puppy dog eyes.
Oh, I know those eyes. They could melt even the coldest heart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it goes beyond the cuteness factor.
Okay.
Shih Tzus are incredibly intuitive dogs.
Interesting.
They're very in tune with their humans' emotions.
Oh.
And they often seem to just know when you need a cuddle or like a playful distraction.
They just get you.
They do.
It's like having a tiny furry therapist who's always down for a snuggle.
You're not far off.
So funny.
But on a more serious note, it's important to remember that this deep connection can also lead to those separation anxieties we talked about.
Right. That double-edged sword.
Exactly.
So for potential owners out there who might be like concerned about that, what's your advice?
Well, the key is to start early and be proactive. If you know you're going to need your Shih Tzu to be comfortable being alone, start with like short periods of separation when they're puppies.
Okay.
And then just gradually increase the time.
So like build up their confidence and like independence gradually.
Exactly. And like providing them with plenty of like mental and physical stimulation when you are around can help, tire them out and make those alone times a little bit easier.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So we've talked about their need for companionship, their love of attention, their playful nature. Yeah. But what about that stubborn streak?
Oh, yeah.
I have to admit, I'm a little intrigued by this side of them.
It's definitely part of their charm.
Yeah.
But, it can present a unique set of challenges when it comes to training.
Okay, now we're getting to the good stuff.
Yes.
Let's talk training tactics.
Right.
What works, what doesn't? Give us the inside scoop.
Well, like we discussed before, like positive reinforcement is key.
Okay.
These dogs, incredibly food motivated.
Of course, who isn't?
I know, right?
Right.
So treats are your best friend.
Bribery, always a classic.
A classic for a reason.
Right.
But, think of it as positive encouragement.
Okay.
But it's not just about the treats.
Okay.
They're also incredibly eager to please their humans. So praise and affection go a long way. However, that independent streak we talked about, it can make things interesting.
So how do you handle a dog who, like, knows what you want, but decides to just, like, do things their own way? I'm picturing, like, a tiny, fluffy dictator just, like, ruling the roost.
You're not far off. But in all seriousness, patience and consistency are crucial.
Right.
They may test boundaries.
Oh, I get it.
They might try to outsmart you, and they often succeed.
I bet they do.
But staying consistent with your training and your expectations, it's key.
So it's about, like, establishing yourself as, like, the benevolent leader of the pack.
Yes. Yeah.
Firm but fair.
Precisely.
Gotcha.
And remember, training should be fun.
Yes.
For both of you.
For sure.
Keep it positive, keep it engaging, and don't be afraid to think outside the box when it comes to rewards and motivation.
I love that. This has been, like, incredibly enlightening. I feel like I'm, like, really starting to understand the nuances of, like, the Shih Tzu psyche.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
But one thing I still wonder about is, with all this talk about, like, stubbornness and, like, potential for separation anxiety and those worse dental claims, like, why are they so popular?
It's a good question.
What is it about these little dogs that just, like, captivates people?
That is a great question, and I think it really boils down to, like, the incredible heart and spirit that lies beneath all that luxurious fur.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Yes.
What is it about the Shih Tzu soul that makes them so irresistible to so many? It's like, despite those quirks, those little quirks we've been talking about, there's this, like, undeniable charm about them.
Totally. They just have this amazing ability to connect with people on such a, like, personal level.
So it's more than just, like, being cute and cuddly. Although, I mean, come on, that doesn't hurt.
Right. Of course, the cuteness is a factor. But it's their capacity for love and loyalty that really, like, sets them apart. They form these strong, like, incredibly strong bonds with their humans.
Yeah.
And they have this way of making you feel like you are the center of their universe.
Oh, I can only imagine. Like, that's got to be addictive.
Cool.
It's like having, like, this, like, furry little soulmate who's just like, always stoked to see you.
Yes, exactly. They bring so much joy into people's lives.
I bet.
They're little clowns, always up for a game, a cuddle.
Yeah.
And they have this, like, knack for knowing when you need a good laugh, you know?
So they're like furry little antidepressants. Sign me up.
Right. They're definitely mood boosters.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, they have this ability to like lower stress,
Yeah.
bring a sense of like peace and happiness to their homes.
I can see that, knowing you've got that kind of like unconditional love, like waiting for you at home.
Right.
That's got to be good for the soul.
Exactly. And they remind us to like slow down, appreciate the simple things.
Yeah.
And enjoy those belly rubs and those ear scratches. Like they're masters of mindfulness in a way.
That's such a good way to put it. They like bring us back to like the present moment.
Yes.
So like after like this deep dive, into the world of Shih Tzus.
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say those like quote worst dog claims.
Yeah.
Totally a matter of perspective.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Yeah.
Every breed has its quirks.
You're right.
And the Shih Tzu is no exception.
For sure.
But for the right person, for someone who understands their needs, embraces like their personality, they can be the most incredible companions.
They really are proof that sometimes the best things come in, like, small, stubborn, ridiculously fluffy packages.
Yes. Could not have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Their history, their temperament, their capacity for love, it all just adds up to this truly like special breed. And it makes you wonder how much of their like ancient past still kind of resonates in those like soulful eyes today.
It really makes you think. Well, there you have it. A deep dive into the wonderful world of the Shih Tzu. We've explored their ancient origins, their brush with extinction, their unexpected athleticism, and their undeniable like ability to steal hearts. So if you're looking for a dog who's like more than just a pet, a dog who's gonna like shower you with love and make every day an adventure, the Shih Tzu just might be your perfect match.